I'm Dean Hallett. I'm president of Hallett Leadership. My current mission is to develop tomorrow's leaders today. I started my career in public accounting, following in the footsteps of my father, thinking that I would be a career partner, learning along the way that ultimately that was not going to be an environment that I was passionate about, and I was able to shift into a smaller client, Anthony Industries, as the swimming pool group controller for Anthony Pools. It was a great opportunity for me because I had, for the first time, the opportunity to see how all the pieces of a company fit together. We were a small company, small team. I was engaged in all different aspects of the company, from how to build a pool better, cheaper, faster, product liability lawsuits, all the different financial components of being in a private company. I was able to develop all those skills and being involved in marketing decisions and so forth. All those things equipped me in a way that I knew I could then work for a larger company and know how I could contribute in a greater way. When I left Anthony Industries, knowing that the pool business was not what I was most passionate about, I shifted over to the Walt Disney Company. I had to participate in their internal audit department. That was my way in the door. What was supposed to be 1 to 2 years, I spent 8 months in that department. I had been doing all sorts of consumer products licensee audits, being told I had to get an MBA to get a job in the consumer products division. And when my counterpart found out about an opportunity that existed on the studio side, he went to our boss, and our boss suggested that I interview for the job. He thought I was a better fit. I suddenly went to the motion picture marketing group as their director of finance and launched I wouldn't call it a Hollywood career, but a career in the entertainment industry that has lasted me about 27 years. I spent 11 years with the Walt Disney Company, finishing up there as the CFO of the Walt Disney Studios. And then, again, a culture decision. It was a culture that I wasn't thrilled about. While Disney might be the happiest place on earth in the parks, I'm not so sure that's what it is inside the company. At least it wasn't when I was there. And the higher up in the company I went, the more I realized that it probably wasn't the right fit for me. And 20th Century Fox came looking for me and asked me to come over and be their CFO. When I first came into 20th Century Fox, it's very entrepreneurial. I was excited to be there. The first day I came in, the CEO of the studio came up to me, gave me a big hug and said, "You're the CFO, you can do anything, get involved in any project you want. You can go to any meeting you want. You don't need to ask permission. You're one of us. You're part of the leadership team," which was really refreshing for me, that a CFO, a head of finance, was actually being embraced to that degree.